Hi there, this is Brene Flournoy, art teacher by day, portrait painter by night, and paint party instructor on the weekend. And I make art kits. Now, I'm about that paint party life. I love it. I love it so much. And I love hearing about people's art story. All right. So I'm on a mission now to find out, what makes people tick, what's their passion. And I have a special guest this evening, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. You see DJ Chill up on the screen, but he's going to let you know a little bit more about him. So come on, sir. We're ready to hear.
All right, greetings everybody. My name is Will Carter. I represent Carter Music Enterprise 219, and I'm honored to be here to answer a few questions. So I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, now I started in the art game. Big memory was way back in second grade. Okay, so I'm going to be telling that
Mm,
part over and over again. So I had an art teacher, and I can't remember. I don't know if it was Mrs. Henderson at Banneker, Benjamin Banneker Elementary in Gary, Indiana. And I don't know if that was Mrs. Henderson or someone else, but you know, our minds go back and we have joyful memories and painful memories. But I want to know how you got started in the whole music thing, because I'm the art one, you're
mm.
in the music. So tell me, I don't know, a good memory that kind of just said, you know what, music is my thing.
Well, it goes way back. My mother, Lord rest her soul, she was a musician. That was in her DNA. She played the organ for as long as I can remember at our local church. I too am from Gary, Indiana, born and raised. She played the piano, she played the organ, she even had a guitar in one of her rooms. So, and she was a excellent vocalist. So to hear my mother sing, just thinking about those times, just makes me smile. So that's where it all started for me as far as music. And in junior high, I went to Charleston and I played the trumpet. So it started there in junior high for me playing the trumpet. Then I played it my seventh grade year, my eighth grade year, and up to my sophomore year in high school. So music was already there. Now the actual music what I grew up on was Hall and Oates, you know, Al Green. My dad played blues. He loved Prince. My mother didn't like Prince, but my dad played Prince. He played, Johnny Taylor, Tyrone Davis. It goes way back. Now my mom, she loved groups like Take Six, Andre Crouch, Ray Charles. Believe it or not. So it was a interesting mix between genres between my father and my mother, the different musics that they listened to because my mother did not listen to any of the music that my dad did, and neither did my dad listen to any Ray Charles or anything like that either. So now as far as my music, of course, being from a different era, um, back in the day, speaking about music, I was just talking with my daughter about this the other day before yesterday. And we was just talking about the difference in music nowadays, rap specifically, or what is better known as hip hop. Um, Back then, it was about a message. Music wasn't as uh, degrading as it is now, and disrespectful. But yes, I mean, it's really nothing new. I mean, this music ain't talking about nothing different than what it is back in the day. Back in the day, it was drugs, it was violence, it was all of that. So it was the times just changed. Things are just more prominent now as it was back then. You didn't have many, young people dying in the streets as much as you do now. I mean, it's just it's terrible. But the music back in those days, you know, um, I enjoyed music. Run DMC, um, East Coast was pretty much who got things started, hands down. When we talking Carriers One, Just Ice, Curtis Blow and Grandmaster Flash, Sugar Hill Gang. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. My man, Cool Herc, and Jazzy Jeff. So, that was my time. That was my music. So, back in them days, I used to love hearing Jam Master Jay. That's where the DJ thing came from. That's where that originated for me. I mean, it came late in life, but I've always been fascinated by by the things that DJs do. It didn't matter who you were. You know, you had all these different DJs, but they all shared one thing in common. They knew how to rock the crowd. So it didn't matter if it was Jam Master Jay or DJ or even Spinderella. So you got ladies behind them ones and twos out there doing the thing. So it's a talent. I mean, that's a talent. I mean, you have to work hard at it, in order to be, really, really good. That's not something you could just sit and just pursue. Or, you have to hone. It's a craft. You have to hone it. You have to put your time in. Once you
Now let
put
me
your
ask
time in.
you, yeah, let me
Hmm.
ask you about that part. Did you have a specific music teacher, or you remember a specific person that kind of gave you a few nuggets to tell you to keep going and make sure that you put that time in?
No, not nobody personally. I mean, it would be
Okay,
somebody that I may have tuned into on YouTube, but somebody physically being there with me, saying, "Okay, all right, here's what you could do, this, that, or the other." No,
okay.
everything
So
that I know now.
your trumpet career, you you took it just because it was
My,
there, and then you just didn't worry about it anymore.
my trumpet career, I cannot really tell you what inspired me to do that. But once I dove into that situation there, I had to learn on my own. So, and I remember specifically, my band teacher back then was Mr. Horn, and Mr. Horn Horn with an E. And Mr. Horn was really good with the kids. He was good at what he done, but he didn't play. So he was one of them teachers to where, I mean, if as long as you gave it your all, man, he acknowledged that. He acknowledged it, and he was that teacher you just didn't want to let down, because if you let him down, it it would hurt you. You wouldn't feel right if you be like, man, I know I could have played better or whatever. So
Now, what grade was that, Mr. Horn?
seventh.
Seventh. Over at Charleston.
Hmm.
Yep. Okay. So, did
Yep.
you have anybody like Gary Roosevelt that kind of took the place of Mr. Horn? Mr. Horn was a one and only, but did you
No,
go? You
nobody was like, as far as
okay?
band. No,
Yeah.
nobody was like Mr. Horn. Now my
Did you
band
continue
teacher,
with band in high school or no?
yeah, up to the 10th grade,
Up
10th,
until
11th
the
grade,
10.
something like
Okay.
that. And well, my band teacher back then was Miss Dillon. So Miss Dillon, bless her heart. I mean, she was no Mr. Horn, but she was that teacher to where, I mean, she was very kind to you. She wasn't, a stickler when it comes to like Mr. Horn. He didn't play that. Once the minute you came in there, you better be about your business. Miss Dillon, she wasn't quite like that. She was more laxed. As long as you showed up and you didn't act out in class, you got an A or a B. So that shit was her. No, Mr. Horn, no,
Okay.
you going he made everybody play. And there was
Okay.
times you had to play in front of the whole class. So
Yes.
that's how Mr. Horn got down. Miss
Okay.
Dillon, when we did play, we all played as a class or a section. Let me hit the woodwinds, okay. All
Mhm.
right, let me hit the brass, okay. Let me hit the flutes. There was no singling anybody out like Mr. Horn used to do. Mr. Horn be like, okay, all right, brother Carter, let me hear you play that ensemble.
Okay. So now we
That
got up to the 10th grade. Now, I know there was some more music that really influenced you. So how did you first tell us about, when you just like, Oh wow. This is it right here. Come on and tell us that part.
The music that influenced me was NWA. Well, I wouldn't say influence, but I
No, I
guess
didn't
that
know
probably
that.
would.
I didn't know that.
But care. But on a serious note, there was one particular artist who I really look forward to hearing each album that he released, and that was KRS-One. Boogie Down
Okay.
Production.
Okay. Wow.
KRS. What I loved about him was, and not taking anything from not Jazzy Jeff, Will Smith. So, well, he wasn't Will Smith back then. He was the Fresh Prince. So, what I liked about him, what stood out with Fresh Prince and KRS, those rappers didn't use profanity, and KRS is probably one of the most popular, probably one of the most respected rappers from the East Coast there is, and he was a lyricist. Now, see, that's a difference with these rappers. A lot of these rappers aren't lyricists. KRS, his music taught you something. And so he was in a different class of his own. And what I like about Will Smith or Fresh Prince back then, he had comedy in his raps. You can play his raps around the whole family. Would nobody take offense to it? It wasn't like, "Ah, I can't play it. I can't, man. If my mom caught me with this tape, I get in trouble." Now that's NWA and Easy E and all them clowns. That was not clowns. I'm sorry about that. All them gentlemen, but those are the ones, the tapes you can't let your mom or your dad find, because you probably end up getting a little bit of trouble if they find you with some NWA, music in your possession. But I mean, that's grown folks' music, that as they would put it. But yes, KRS-One, he was that he was that guy that I used to love listening to. I'm like, man, KRS, he really, when you really listen to the things that he says, well, for me, I can only
Mhm.
speak for me, but there's a lot of other, gentlemen in my era who would say the same thing. We just come to school just reciting, just different parts of his lyrics. Like, man, that was smooth, boy, that was slick back then, how he said that. And I think probably, and this is probably something that you even heard. One of KRS's most famous thing, whoop whoop. That's the sound of the police. Whoop whoop. I don't know if you ever heard that before, but
I may
that
have.
was,
It's been a moment, but I did like his delivery of the words. I did.
yeah,
Yeah, he was smooth. He was smooth with it.
he
And
was
I'm saying
smooth. But see,
was like, cause he's in past tense, but yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, we were listening
he
back
was
then.
smooth, right?
Yeah.
But he was no angel. He talked about guns. He talked about drugs. He talked about these things,
Hmm.
but profanity wasn't his MO. And he was just talking about other rappers. He said, man, people think it's about coming around with songs with all this bass and all that. He said, no. He said, it's not about that, which is true for me. But one man's one man's fact is another man's opinion. So yeah, when it came to KRS, I enjoyed listening to his music. I really
Okay.
did.
All right. So that's, did that carry you through high school, or was there any other, you know,
It carried me
genres
from
that crept in?
it carried me from when I first heard it all the way till now.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are things were just, it just didn't, it already set a precedent when it came to, other rappers, because, now when you listen to all this gangster stuff, and I don't really, honestly, even as a DJ, I don't listen to some of this music. Makes me sick. I'm like, nah, I can't play this. There's no way. This music now is just more not what I want to play. But yeah, it's kind of not what. Well, it just depends on. I ain't gonna say that. I was gonna say this is just something that I don't want to deal with. But
Yeah,
but from a DJ sense, it's kind of it's not about you. It's about your people. But
gotcha.
that has a certain truth to it.
Yeah.
But to counter that truth, it's about what type of audience that I want.
Right. Okay. Well, look, we're going to ease into that. I'm just going to pause this one quick second. We're going to ease into that conversation. All right. So we're in high school. We know about KRS-One, and it's still big influence on you today. And then the NWA, and you had to hide that from your parents, that you couldn't let them hear, but it opened up your mind to other things that were going on. So what are some other genres, as you wrap that part up, what are some other genres that just, I don't know, just really got to your mind and your head and your heart space?
Oh, thinking about your question, and it just kind of take me back, and it tickles me because it was more, it was a lot more than NWA. We talking Two Live Crew, and a lot of other folks. But I mean, but believe it or not, at a young age, I have expanded my ears to different because I love Hall and Oates. I love Tears for Fears. I love some of the country rock people. Growing up,
What is that? Moments in Love? What's that group? Some
the
of
Art
those
of Noise,
European groups.
the Art of Noise,
The Art of Noise. We
the
rocked
Art
that
of
out.
Noise.
Yeah.
Actually, the two that were kind of similar were the Art of Noise and Kraftwerk. Remember them?
Craft
Trans
work.
Trans Europe Express.
Yeah.
So yeah, I listen to, I mean, it's more than me style when it comes to me, because I've learned at an early age with my mom being a musician, I've learned to appreciate that type of music, especially classical, you know, and jazz. So yes, I enjoy it. I may not have mentioned those, but yes, I listen to all of it. I just don't heavy metal. I just don't do that.
Yeah.
But pretty much any other music that I have listened to and I can listen to. If I was to tune it in on the radio and and just walk away and just listen to it, so I can go with that. But one thing I will say, as I gotten older, one particular genre of music that has really stayed with me is house music. And growing up, WGCI, I remember those summer nights, especially we had a radio station on 96 called BMX, WBMX.
And
Um,
where is WGCI? Where do we listen to that from? Where is that?
107.5. But see, GCI wasn't that type of channel.
Chicago.
It was
We gotta
Yeah,
let
Chicago.
them know it's Chicago. Not, it wasn't
Oh yeah,
Erie.
Chicago. Both channels. Yeah, out of
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
GCI. But GCI, Bonnie DeJohn and Herb Kent. The Fly Jock, Tom Joyner. Man, we had some people come up out of there, that was spitting some hits, and that's where the childhood came up. Cause man, you hear some old man, somebody riding down the street with their windows down, blasting, Tina Marie or some old Rick James. Man, that was those
New
were the
edition.
days. New edition. Yeah, I was. You know what? I was just thinking about making you a mega mix for a new edition. But yeah, new edition. I mean, that was music
We
back
had
then.
some good music. And you brought up Tina Marie. My goodness, that was a phenomenal voice. And what's that? Peaches
Yes.
and Herb and all. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
many.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the nostalgia that I get just going back thinking about that music. It just instantly takes me back to my childhood because that's the
You
music
remember Soul Train?
we
You remember
grew up
Soul
off
Train,
of.
right? Because I don't know if you caught Soul Train, but I remember Soul Train.
Yeah. Used to watch Soul
Trying to catch
Train.
some of those shows. Uh-huh.
Yeah, watch the Soul Train and hit Lionel and the Commodores and the Spinners and man, just thinking back now, that's the music that I love to play. So I'm going to talk about house music. Then I'm going to go back to, what I mentioned to you before as far as, okay, listening to this music now, I have absolutely no interest in entertaining it, but of course, that type of music fits a different type of audience, but we'll get to that later. But house music. House music has been something that, we used to go to the skating rink called Screaming Wheels in Gary. That was the only skating rink that was available to us, but it was like Grand Central Station. Everything took place out there. If you wanted to dance, that's where you go. If you wanted to fight and get into it, that's where everybody went. We had a lot of projects throughout the city, so if you had two rivals, they they settled it right there at Screaming Wheels. Well, that was one
I
of the
didn't know that.
locations.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. I didn't go. I would probably count it on one hand how many times I went to Screaming Wills. I don't. It just wasn't my thing. But
I'm with you. Yeah, I
that's
feel
a
you.
hangout spot for teens, right?
It was the hangout spot, that's where we always went. You want to try and find your girlfriend, that's where you went. You want to learn how to skate. Of course, that's where you went. Now, Tri City later on opened up a skating rink, but it was no Screaming Wheels by hands down. Screaming Wheels was Screaming Wheels. But once, okay, let me just try and paint an illustration on how it was. It was a pretty nice size facility. It had an arcade. That's where I spent most of my entertainment at back there at the arcade.
Oh yeah, that's a story for another. That's a whole
Yeah.
separate interview
So,
because you were a master at the game.
well, I tried to be, but yeah, it had the arcade back there. Pretty nice selection. It had pool tables if you want to shoot some pool. Had a little food court. If you was hungry, you go over there, spend a few dollars, grab you something to eat. Then it had the skating rink. And then, of course, last but least, it had the dance floor. But the dance floor did not open until maybe 2 hours into the set because they had 4 hour sets. They had 11 to 2, 3 to 7, 8 to 12. Now, 8 to 12, that's for the big boys. I'm like, dang, I used to always go to 3 to 7. I said, man, I wish my mom and dad let me hang out to 8 to 12. because, because those who went to 8 to 12 had something to brag about when they went to school the next day. So they
But
said,
let me
yeah,
ask you
man.
this now: at Screaming Wills, is that where you first heard house music, or did you hear it on the radio
No,
first?
heard on the radio. On the
They
radio
didn't do
first.
house music at Screaming Wills.
Yeah,
They did. Okay,
of course.
that's why it's like, okay, I know house music was like a good foundation for you. That was your thing. And I know it's still going on today, but that's where I was like, where did you hear it? I didn't know that they were, playing it at Screaming Wills. I
Okay.
just thought it was on the radio.
Yeah, like I mentioned to you, they played it on Friday nights on 96.3 WBMX. They would have mega mixes. So that's where you had your Frankie Knuckles, you had Farley Jack Master Funk, and you had Perez, Julia Jumping Perez. I think Julius Jumping Perez or something. I can't remember his name. So
Okay.
you had those actual house music DJs that would be out there doing their thing. And I used to love, man, because the mega mixes lasted for a very long time.
Okay.
And but it was a series of a lot of other house music that they would, be playing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I had really gotten into that. But see, Screaming Wheels now, the dance floor didn't open up right away. It
Mm-hmm.
only opened up maybe a couple hours into the set. Like I said, it was only a 4 hour set from
Right.
3 to 7 or 8 to 12. Now, 11 to 2 was mostly for the kids. That was specifically for the young kids.
Okay.
3 to 7 were young, 3 to 7 and 8 to 12, no kids were allowed. There was an age limit. So, but here's the thing, while you're out there skating,
Mhm.
while the dance floor was getting ready, the DJ was back there getting it, getting the set primed up, so you could hear the music playing back there.
Okay. So
So
that was
back,
only music while you were skating. So it wasn't like a DJ for the skating and then a
yes, it
DJ
was
for
a
the dance.
DJ
Was
for
it
the
the same time?
skating. Yeah,
Okay.
it was music playing. The skating rink had its own separate music.
Okay.
Meanwhile, while the DJ was in the back in the
Okay.
dance room, but see, the doors were shut. So you did not have access to the dance floor until they rolled them doors open,
Okay.
because
Okay.
it was a sliding door, a huge sliding door, and you can enter the dance floor from two different doors.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
One thing was like on the west end, and the other door was on the north end of the dance floor. So
Ooh.
once the time was ready, somebody would get behind them doors and slide the doors open, and people just come rushing in there and hit the dance floor and start. By that time, the DJ had the music full throttle. So everybody was losing their mind. But see, back then they had the dance was foot house music was called jacking. So when you jack, you you dancing to the house music. So I'm like, man, I'm jacking the house. And matter of fact, it might be a house song that I'm sure you probably heard. It's by my man Steve Hurley. Jack, 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 jack your body, jack, 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 jack your body, jack, jack,
Probably.
jack, jack your body. So he made a song called Jack
You'll
Your
have to
Body.
dig it out and play it for me again. But
Okay, yeah. So these were actual house music DJs, because they knew
okay.
how we got. They knew how people got down. They knew people jack to the music. That's why you had Farley Jackmaster Funk. So he created this music specifically for house music listeners and dancers,
Hmm.
because you jack your body, move your body, jack your body, gonna set you free, move your body. So and that's what this music was basically tailor made for people who like to jack.
Okay.
So my man, Mr. Fingers, mm, mm, mm. Mr. Fingers was another jack house music producer, and back in '85, he released this song called "Mystery of Love." Oh man, I love that song. Mr. Fingers has really, and I produce music also, so I made some house music of my own.
Okay. Well, I know that we'll have some more discussions. I just really wanted to make sure that you just bust on the scene and let people know that you're not brand new. You got some roots,
Hmm.
and the
Yeah.
music has just been woven throughout your whole entire life. And I know the house, when we start talking about the house music, I know you got several people that really influence you. And I know you probably can do probably 15, 20 minutes just reminiscing on each one of those people. So as I could hear the passion, man. I could hear that the art of music is what's just driven you, and now you're really um, back to the
Hmm.
music again. So
Yeah.
you live life, and we'll hear more about the story. And so now you're back really with the music full throttle, and so kind of let people know um, who are you trying to serve right now? Who with this music now that you're certified and bona fide and you've got your business all set up now, um, tell us about this phase, and we're gonna hear more about the wonderful memories of house music. But tell us Tell us where you are now.
That's a good question. Um, well, I don't have a whole lot of experience, as far as years and years of DJing. It's only just been a few years for me, but um, not being new to music though, you know, um, um, I do know who I would really like the audience I would like to capture because
Okay.
you can't capture them all. I mean
Right.
that's just
Start off
human
with your
nature.
business name and just go right on into, you know, I'm not going to say your pitch, but your spiel, um, kind of tell us who you are, where we can find you, and then tell us who you're hoping to serve.
Business name is Carter Music Enterprise 219. Um, I can you can well I'm still just getting a few things set up as far as my platforms, but you could find me out there on Google. So you could, just Google Carter Music Enterprise 219 and you'll see me out there. You see a few reviews from some of the happy clients that I performed for. So I also have a Facebook page, but I'm still just kind of getting a few things taken care of on it because, DJing, just like myself, like probably like many other folks, it started off as a hobby. So now it's manifested into a business. So I'm just trying to get a few more business, affairs in order right now. But I am bona fide, so
Yes.
I'm ready. That part of business is already established.
Yes, you got
So
your shingle hung out, you're bona fide, you're ready to serve the people along with some of the people that you've already served recently.
yes.
I've got the email address at the
Hmm.
bottom of the screen here, but make sure that you say it for the audible uh, customers as well.
Yeah, okay. Customers, those who are listening instead of watching, email is Carter Music LLC at yahoo.com or DJ Chill at CME.com. So, or is it DJ at CME219.com? I think,
Well,
yes,
we'll
it's
come back on this
219.
one. Is this one is Carter Music LLC at yahoo.com the main one right now?
Yeah, that'll
Okay.
be the main one. Yes,
Okay, so then we can
exactly.
always update as things change. Okay, as we find
Hmm.
out more, we'll definitely. But you can reach out to Carter Music LLC at yahoo.com. He's in the Indianapolis, Indiana area, but there's so many cities that are around the circle here, Circle City. So make sure if you're looking for a DJ to serve your organization, your company, he's going to tell you. DJ Chill is the one you need to hype the party up. So let me
I,
let
I,
him tell you who he's ready to serve.
from a humble, state of mind, I could just try my best, and just to give you just a little bit of my experience. I have DJ, parties, personal parties. I've done my wife's huge birthday bash last year. I've done open houses, like for my nephew, and I've done other, personal events. I've done a corporate event, for my job. That was over 1,000 people in attendance there. So and I also do weddings. I've done a couple weddings. Now you asked the question, which audience I would like to capture. If I had my way, yeah, for corporate events definitely. Me, corporate events a little bit more simpler. Um, you're dealing with professionals. You're not dealing with a bunch of riffraff and just unreasonable people. Now, weddings, I like weddings, and I've spoken with many DJs, and everybody has their own thing. Um, I do not have any experience being in the club, which I'm not worried about that because that's not a area that I'm after. So
Okay,
I'm not concerned about DJing in the club. I just don't want to be in that environment.
right.
Back in my younger days, yes, I used to always be in the clubs and this and that. But now, at this stage in life, I prefer not. I
Yeah.
leave that to those other DJs, who wants to establish a residency in the clubs. So I'll just continue being a traveling DJ, for weddings and corporate events. That's whom I would like to capture. Now, if I were to do private parties, I doing it for the older crowd, people maybe in my area, in my age group, that'd be key because that would be simpler because I can reach into them crates and blow some dust off some old New Edition and, Johnny Gill, Rex and Effect, Black Street, all of that's going to play, you know,
SWV,
SWV, Rob Bass.
Emotions.
It just goes the list goes on and on. You can reach and play any of that, and somebody's going to jump up and dance to that music.
Help
You
me,
know,
Strawberry Letter 20,
23, Brother
20
Johnson's,
Brother John.
23,
Hey,
the
hey,
Brothers
I
Johnson.
wore that record out.
Yeah, yeah,
But
they have
it's so
it's
much
another
good
hit.
music. So you would like to
Act
rock with
and
the
Stomp.
40 and up crowd.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, look, I am so excited that we had an opportunity to sit down and chop it up just a little bit, but
Hmm.
we'll talk some more. And I'm so glad that I've got your email up here, Carter Music LLC at yahoo.com. And this is William Carter. And you see how laid back he is. He's called DJ Chill. And it's not by happenstance. So thank you so much for
You're
let
welcome.
just get a peek into, your life. Now I'm wrapping up. Is there something else that you want to tell the people before I do my little wrap up?
Okay, sure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you. I mean, the pleasure is all mine. If there's anything that I would have for anybody out there, not just for DJs, but just people in life, if there's something that you have a passion for, pursue it, by any means necessary. Every little bit counts. Like myself, I've always been inspired to become a DJ, but it didn't finally manifest until now. Here it is, probably, 40 years later, I finally decided to pursue it. And now that I have, you know, I'm glad that I did. There's a lot of work that I need to do. I'm not the one to sit there and say, oh, I'm the greatest DJ on the west side of town. You would never, you would never ever hear me, take on that type of, spirit. But I'm just here to try and do a good job and serve the people because once my services are attained, at that point, I have to establish. It's important to me that I establish a relationship with that client because this particular set that they want me to perform on, it has to be. I want it to be perfectly
Yeah.
tailored to you.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not just going to just say, oh well, most people like to hear this, so I'm just going to play. It's not a matter of what I want to play.
Right.
It's what you want to hear.
See, that's
Now,
great that you want to serve with excellence. You want to hear what they need, and then you're going to fill that need. And then, you add your extra flair on there that just leaves the best
and that's
side.
what you do. You add your extra flair. I fill in the gaps. They may say, okay, they may not actually give me a play-by-play playlist. I want you to play this song. I want you to play this. They'll probably give me, and this is what I've experienced. They'll give me an artist.
Okay.
Can you play a little bit of Maxwell? Can you play a little bit of this? They may not give me a song.
Okay.
Then at that point, okay, well, that's still fine. At least I know the area of
Yeah.
where they want me to. But some people have given me songs, which is fine. Give me songs, and I'll play the songs. Then I'll fill in the gap
Okay.
with other songs.
And I'm
So I'll
glad
have.
you mentioned that because now that lets me know that the next time we talk, I want to hear more of the process of how people can, the tips, maybe your top 10 tips or checklist that you would make sure people have in order to approach a DJ? A way, if you want to order, if you want a DJ at your party, here's a checklist that might be good to serve you. Every DJ is a little bit different, but I would love to hear some of the things people need to kind of have together. You know what? Before you approach, kind of know your crowd, what you want to do with them, and then, you know, we can talk over some things even if they don't know everything. So that's
You know,
cool.
they really don't have to have a checklist or anything like that. They already have an idea of what they want to do. For instance, it
Okay.
might be somebody's 40th birthday.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
only thing on their mind, they just want to get turned up.
Okay.
So they may say, okay, are you available for this date? Oh, yes, I am. Okay, all right, cool. Once we, get all those preliminaries in order, then at this point, it's me asking the questions. It's not
Mhm.
them bringing it to me. They may say, okay, all right. They may want to know the times. Is it okay if we set this from 6 to 10?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, that's fine. Or how
Just some
long? How
basics because they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I want to DJ you," but you want them to have some kind of clue. It's like, so what's this about? I don't know. We're just gonna gather together. You want to make sure that they have, just and like I said, when I say the checklist, it's just what's the event for, about how many people, like you say, what's
hmm
the event date and time, that kind of thing. Some things that they need to
That's where a survey
even
comes in
even
at.
the date and time. Go ahead, babe. Say it again.
That's where a survey comes in at.
Okay, okay.
So
So
once
that's
they
good.
once they decide they want to roll with me and we get that part done, then I will send them a survey.
Okay.
And
So on the back end to get more
so that
detail.
survey will help
Okay.
guide them into what it is they want, other than them trying to get a checklist for me or anybody else. So it's more like, I'm doing all the work.
Okay.
I'll send you the survey, and that's what that survey would consist of. What music do are you interested in hearing? What music you
Okay.
don't want to hear?
Okay.
What you do want to hear, what you don't want to hear, about how many people do you think will be in attendance of this party,
Yes.
or this engagement, whatever it is.
Yes.
Can you give me the age ranges of
Yeah.
these people? Because
Yeah.
I need to know who's all there so I can see how diverse I want to make my list.
Okay.
Because now this is just me. If I'm DJing for a crowd of 100 people and the age range is from 16 all the way to 16 to 60, so therefore I'm going to have to curate a list that's going to accommodate the entire age range.
Right. Right.
So I'm not going to have something that's predominantly all rap, to where I'm appeasing just the teenagers and the young 20s, but the 30s and 40s and people on up is just like, man,
Gotcha.
I'm tired of hearing that.
Well, that's good.
Because
That's good to know that you will be accommodating in that way. That's
that that
being
is me.
thoughtful and good customer service. So that's good.
Yes, and I make sure I make that clear to the
Yeah.
client, because it's this one DJ, this one brother I like watching, and he said something. DJ Book, that's his name, and he said something very interesting. And I felt him on that because I shared the same sentiment. He said, DJs, this is what you have to be mindful of. Yes, you're doing that particular set right there, but you don't know who you are auditioning for, because when you're doing that set, you're appeasing that customer in a sense, but then again, you may be auditioning for another gig by somebody else that's in that crowd. Because if they
Right.
like how you got down, especially being professional, your selection of music,
Hmm.
how well you mixed, how well you kept people on the dance floor. I mean, your flow. If your flow was appeasing to them, somebody might be tapping you on the shoulder.
And
And,
you've been approached several times. So that's good. That is
and
good. And
so
you got
that's
several things pending from just a couple of recent events. So that's exciting.
Hmm.
That's exciting.
It's kind of a gift that keeps on giving, in a
That's
sense.
true.
So yeah,
That's
I take
true.
this seriously. I'm practicing more,
Yeah.
and I want to just get down here and just keep working on the craft and working on the craft until I just I mean, I'm more than comfortable right now to spin
Right.
in front of any crowd,
Right.
but I
But
just
any
want
good
to,
doctor, any good lawyer, any good basketball
yeah,
player, anybody that has that art in mind, they want to stay fine tuned. And so that's good to
you
hear. And I'm
you
gonna
do,
segue
and
right on, I'm gonna segue right on into, you tell me about the music, your passion. I just want to know one quick little art story from the art room. What's one little art story? Because that's where I want to wrap it up. Uh, what is a highlight that you remember? Maybe it was an art teacher or an art project that you worked on, and you don't have to go into great depth. What is something about art that sparked your joy? We know music is art. We know writing is art. We know theater and dance. We know
mhm.
all of these things. But I'm a visual artist, so I just want to know a little art story from you.
Okay, I don't really have much to add there, but I will say this: while I was in junior high, we didn't have arts. I mean, as far as painting, we did have arts and crafts by Mr. Kari. I still remember those teachers' names like it was yesterday. Yeah, Mr. Kari, Kahre. He was our arts and crafts teacher, and that was basically woodworking. So
Okay.
that was arts in that. Now in high school, I did have this one art teacher named Mr. Vallum, and Mr. Vallum was a laid back gentleman. I liked him, and of course, it was a basic art class to us, but we did learn quite a bit on how to, blend it. I mean, it was fascinating. He showed us how to blend. We all had to come get our little things, and he only put certain colors on there. I'm like, "Where's the red?" Red, you gonna make it? And he taught us how to make the colors that weren't on our little thing there.
Yeah. Oh,
So he
you talking
told
about your
us,
little brown palette? You
it
talking
was a
about
little palette,
little
and
white? Uh-huh.
he didn't give us
Put up
green.
like the primary colors like red, yellow, and blue. And this okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
red, yellow, blue, and yeah. So I'm like, okay, red, yellow, and blue. Okay, where's the green at? You gonna make it?
That's right.
So
That's right.
he made us make green. He made us make colors we didn't have, so we can continue with our project. So yeah, Mr. Ballum, he taught us, quite a bit as far as art from a basic,
Yes.
standpoint. So but art wasn't that wasn't something I pursued, but I had to take it because it was a class that we had to pass. So
Right, right.
I
But I
I
just
done what
wanted
I.
to know a little bit, I like I said, I just want to start pursuing that you know, that line of questioning with people. What is some kind of art story that you have? Because everybody's got something. And like you said,
Hmm.
everybody's not pursuing it. But I just want to know because I am in the visual arts and I just, while you on here, I speak with such passion about the music. I just wanted to, just say, hey, what
Yeah,
about a little art?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
cool. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Okay,
And, like I said, we will definitely meet back up again. I want to hear more about the house music and,
okay,
of course, your ongoing events and different things like that.
hmm,
So
okay.
thank you. Thank you, DJ Chill, William Carter. And you can reach William at Carter Music LLC at yahoo.com. And I'm just going to let him close out with a farewell and I will just end the broadcast.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you all for for those who are watching and listening. Thank you for the time. I'm not this big time DJ, and I'm not worried. And actually, I'm cool with that. I will share this with you. And of course, from a business point of view, there's certain steps that you have to take to feed and grow your business, of course. However, you know, I'm good with not being that DJ everybody knows about. I've embraced that. So, those have found me, or those people that I were able to connect with to do business with, I appreciate you. And my brother, you would always say, because I had mentioned earlier that I produce music, and he just kept saying, man, you need to get this music out here, man. This boy, you have some heat over here, man. You need to let the world know. But I told him, I said, I appreciate that, brother, but I'm not concerned about the world.
Mhm, mhm.
I'm only concerned to let the people who know. I'm only concerned with people who are in my world to hear my music, not the world itself. I mean, yeah, the world may hear it eventually, but I'm not concerned about that. And that's the sentiment that I have as far as DJing. I'm just going to keep practicing and keep doing what I'm doing. Be that DJ. They be like, DJ Chill. You know what? I heard of, I heard about this DJ Chill guy. Anybody know anything about him? Nah, I ain't heard nothing on him.
Mhm.
You know, until I want to be that guy. Like, you the guy, you that DJ Chill guy. Everybody that I've been hearing a few. That's me. That's how I like it,
Right.
and
That,
that's how I want.
that overnight success is not that overnight success. You're back in the back offices and you're, working for your clients and, you're
I'm
just,
working for my clients
yep. So,
and slowly doing what I have to do to get better, to where in case if I did get that phone call or that email one day and they may say, hey, you know, sir, can you come perform for us
oh,
at this,
yes.
that, or the other?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. Yes,
Not
I'll
not
do,
not one day. You're getting them now. You're getting those now, and it's
no,
just going to just grow and
yeah,
grow. Mhm.
yeah, that I'm talking about a big call. I mean, like
Yeah.
for, something big,
And it's
but,
coming. It's coming. But on
hmm
the with the ongoing contracts that you have now, you've started the business and now you're getting some traction. And as you're moving, like you said, people are gonna notice and then recommend and then
yeah,
yeah, and you're known for
yeah,
excellence, so
yeah.
it's coming.
So social media is a very convenient, tool that you can use, once you set up your platform. But
Yeah.
I'm old school.
Yep.
Word of mouth
Yep.
works just as great.
And that's
You
that's
know,
what's happening.
it works just as great. I mean, you can say, yeah, this cat has, 10,000 likes or whatever, but for someone to personally say, you know what, I heard him in person. Oh,
Yes.
really? That's not a like can't tell you that. A like can only say, yeah, they only like what they heard. But word of mouth can say, yeah, man, I went to my cousin had a little birthday bash. Yeah, I never heard of him before.
Mhm.
But my cousin invited me out, and yeah, he did his thing. Well, he was actually, man, he was pretty cool. He was a
Mhm.
cool brother. He
Mhm.
spoke to me.
Mhm.
Word of mouth
Yep.
does more for you than a simple like on social media. That's just what
I hear you,
that's
and
a
I
deep,
understand, but I know you're old school, but we got to work with some of the new school a little bit. A little
and I
bit. We're
get
gonna
it,
get you
and
out
that's
there. We're
why.
gonna get you out there.
And I mean, I'm not knocking
That's
that either.
cool.
So I'm kind of working at it on
Oh
both
yeah,
both angles,
yeah.
but I'm not putting all my eggs in.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know,
Totally understand. Totally
hmm
understand. So we will continue to be on the lookout for you. We will definitely get back in the studio again to hear from William Carter with Carter Music Enterprise,
hmm
DJ Chill. And if you're looking him up on the internet, look him up under Carter Music Enterprise 219. Okay.
219. Yeah.
There we go. So peace to you, sir. Peace to you, audience, and thank you so, so much for
Thank you.
tuning in today. So we're
All right.
signing off.
Take care. Bye bye.
Take care.